Good morning to you. Thank you so much for finding time to being with us today. The show is Good Morning Africa, and as we have been doing, we have been keeping up to date with what is happening in the country as we enter day 4 of the counting of the votes and the tallying of the votes. Kenyans went to the polls on Tuesday, and so since then we have been anxiously waiting for the official results of by the IEBC, especially the presidential results. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and we shall be looking at the latest as far as that is concerned. But first off, let me bring us up to date with what we have on the headlines this morning. Anxious wait. IEBC began verifying and announcing presidential results from 290 constituencies. Kenya was calm as she awaited results. IEBC boss Wafula Chebukati said Kenyans will have to wait a few more days to know their next president. That story is on page 4 and 5. Big names fall as little-known faces enter house. Ruthless voters sent home. Many well-known members of parliament voted in young. Some little known into the National Assembly and the Senate. The biggest casualties including long-serving members of parliament and senators. That story is on page 8 and 9. Murder. DCI orders MP Didmas Baraza to give himself up. That story is on page 36. And then the Daily Nation, the main headline, Raila Ruto battle for parliament, race for House supremacy. Raila Odinga and William Ruto lived up to the expectations in their respective bastions, with Azimio leader taking MP slots in Nyanza, Nairobi, Western, Ukambani and Coast, and the Kenya Kwanza Supremo sweeping Mount Kenya, Rift Valley and Upper Eastern. The story is on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to page 16. Now Didmas Baraza wanted in connection with shooting, 6 anticipatory bail. Okay, and I think just a few moments ago before we started the show, I was informed that he already got himself to the police station, and so I'll get you the details of that developing story. New dawn in as bigwigs bite the dust. That story is on page 8. The Standard newspaper, the main headline, battle for 50 plus 1. As Kenyans wait with bated breath for the presidential poll winner to be announced anytime from now, tallies by media houses last night showed that the race is too close to call. It is now a dash to hit the 50 Odinga and William Ruto to win the prize in the first round. That story is on the special coverage from page 2 all the way to 11. So that is what we have on the front pages of the leading newspapers in the country this morning. I'm joined by Kiptanui Savania all the way from Nakuru. Kiptanui, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam. A very good morning to Olesina. Good morning to everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on wherever you are watching us. Miriam, I'm actually joining you live from Nairobi, Nakuru, Nairobi Highway. It happened in Nakuru, surely. It happened that my friend who was actually here heading the resettlement of post-election violence of 2007-2008, Mr. Karaoke, called me in the morning. He is actually living in Umereria. Umereria is in the Laikipia County, where the IDPs was resettled by the government. And I actually did his call so that I just go and interview him, so that I want him to tell us what is the situation. Because he has worked with Uhuru Kenyatta since since 2007, 2008 resettlement of the IDPs, and he is with me today, Miriam. So I'm actually privileged to have actually met him. And Miriam, today it is cool. The weather here is not bad, and we thank God. People are anxious. They want to release. They are actually waiting to hear for the result. This is the man. This is the man on my background. On my background is
all right.
Peter
Could you face the where the light is coming from? Because if the light is in the back, then it becomes a problem. So usually for good photos or videos, you face the source of the light. So if you can, you can face, yeah, the other
Is
way.
it okay now?
Okay, sure. So I'd like maybe to talk to him just a little bit before I introduce the rest of the panelists this morning. Sir, good morning to you, and what is your name?
Yeah, my name is Peter Karaoke. I'm the representative of the
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
A lot of nice background, I don't know.
Okay, so your name is Peter Karaoke. So Peter Karaoke, I've been told that you've been working in helping to settle the IDPs from 2007, 2008 post-election violence. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, so you mean to tell me we do
Come again?
have? I've been told that you've been helping in settling the IDPs from the 2007,
There is
2008.
a lot of noise background.
Okay, so just have Kiptanui fix that, and then I'll come back to you. Please don't go too far. Let Kiptanui take care of that, and then I'll come back. Yes, because I really want to talk to you. But also okay. We're also joined by Samuel Tawish, our journalist from Narok County. Samuel Tawish, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning indeed to you, Miriam Ogutu from our communication headquarters. Good morning to Pete Tanui Savania, and also good morning to my very good friend, one Peter Karaoke, coming live from Nakuru. Indeed, and all to our viewers watching this program in Africa and the rest of the world. It's a great pleasure to join you on this program this morning, Miriam. And indeed, I was just trying to listen into the, of course, to Mr. Peter Karaoke. This is a gentleman I have known for quite some time, for so many years, actually. I remember one time when I was doing coverage about the post-poll chaos in Mawingu IDP camp, the largest IDP camp then in Kenya, that is in Olkalau constituency. I had time to interact with one Mr. Peter Karaoke. I think he was the one who was leading the government's initiatives to resettle the IDPs who had been displaced from various parts of the country. So he's a man I'm well acquainted to, and I know him for a fact. Miriam, that said, I think there's been too much of a wait in as far as this election is concerned. And as we continue even to wait for the IEBC to continue tabulating and relay the results to the Kenyan people who are pregnant with expectations, each side, of course, hoping that their candidate is going to pull that pleasant surprise and eventually become the winner of this election. But that said and done, I think it's very important that even as we continue to maintain the patience and the peace, it is important and imperative for us to appreciate the fact that this country is bigger than any of us. It's bigger than any of the individuals who have contested for this presidential seat and even other elective positions. It is just about Kenyans really maintaining that that harmony and the peaceful coexistence amongst themselves. Because again, after this election, Miriam, we don't have any other country to go to. We don't have any other place to call home other than Kenya. So it is important for us to embrace one another, those who have won this election and those who have lost, to understand that it was not all about enmity. It was just but about competition. These were just political opponents. There's nothing about enmity. There's no need for us to kill one another. There's no need for us to displace, to make people run away from their homes. There's no need for us even to destroy properties or make life difficult for brothers and sisters whom we perceive to have a different or a divergent political view from the one we hold. So basically, Miriam, that is what is the feeling out here. And I guess in every other part of the country, people are as anxious as from where I am, because everyone is really and has continued to wait. From the day we went to the ballot on the 9th of August, that is on Tuesday. Today is actually the fourth day from the day we went into these polls. Miriam, you can imagine this wait has been unimaginable. But again, I want to give it to the Kenyan people because they have displayed utmost maturity, decorum in as far as how they have been patient and waiting for IEBC really to collect and give them the results of these particular elections, especially on the presidential race, Miriam. Only that in as much as even the media have been giving of course, varied results. It's good that IEBC's communication this time has been so coherent to the extent that they come out and, of course, any person who has had any misgiving or reservation about why we are having contradicting results coming from different media houses, when we all understand that they're all drawing these results from the IEBC portal. So we get to understand exactly why such results are coming that way. And it's only good that Kenyans can wait and see how IEBC is going to tabulate all the results and bring us the outcome, tabulate these votes and bring us the outcome or the winner, rather, of this presidential election. So that is the passionate appeal I call upon on Kenyans. And when you listen into, I'm sure he's going to have a say, Mr. Peter Karaoke. He will tell you the devastating, the pain, and the anxiety that people who went through the very ugly scenes, people who lost their kins, people whose property was destroyed, people who had to move from what they otherwise used to call home, feeling as we speak today. Their prayer, and the only big prayer, is that whoever wins this election, regardless, is that let peace be there, Miriam, because it's unimaginable. If you had a chance at any given time to go to some of these places where these IDPs were, then you can understand the cost of not having peace, Miriam. You can understand why it is important really to uphold the peace and tranquility and the harmonious coexistence that we continue to preach each and every day in our country, Miriam. So that is it. I want just to appeal to Kenyans to continue patiently waiting until IEBC gives us the final tally of the presidential contest. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, and our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And I see Henry Michael, you're saying you're watching us all the way from Tabora, Tanzania, and a very good morning to you. And you're saying you're waiting for the final presidential results because prosperity in Kenya is a prosperity in in the East African region. Yes, indeed, Henry, and thank you so much. And Ogebe Omoto Chan, also thank you so much. And the rest of you, you can just write me there. And then I'll go through your comments. And please, as you do that, let us know where you're watching us from this morning, and a very good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in and watching us from. So yes, indeed, I really want to get into a bit of a conversation and a very good, very important issues there that you've raised, Samuel Tawish, why it is important. And I think it is paramount for us to get this right. As you can see, even our brother in Tanzania, he's saying they're just waiting. Africa is waiting and the rest of the world is waiting. We saw when we were at that dark place in our country in 2007, 2008. It was very shocking because Kenya had been known and still is, the oasis of peace in a region that has a bit of some turbulence. You look at South Sudan, you look at Somalia, you look at, Ethiopia now and Uganda, what we see happening there. And so it's one of the dynamic democracies that can be pointed out in this region. So it is important, not just for us here, but also being the powerhouse in the greater East African region, we have to live up to that expectation, because if something goes wrong in this country, and we saw when, the people who even depended on our ports, like Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, they could no longer get their goods on time, so they were affected. So if something happens here, the ripple effects are magnanimous, so we have to and we must get it right. But I think so far just a bit of some challenges that have been reported here and there, but nothing too serious, and we hope that will stay that way. Kip Tanui, if you could bring back Peter Karaoke, because I would like to just have a bit of a chat with him before I talk to you, if you don't mind.
Miriam is there now. You can proceed.
Okay, so
hi, Miriam.
All right, hi, Peter Karaoke. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. And so I've been told, yes, and Samuel Tawish has shared there some kind words about you and what you do and the importance of that. And you've been coordinating the resettling of the IDPs. So how has that process been?
First is to thank you, Miriam, for giving me this opportunity. One thing I want to tell Kenyans is that post-election violence 2007-2008 affected many Kenyans in a big way. And this made trauma, fear, anger not failing most of the IDP. Currently, as we are talking, we still have some IDPs who are still languishing in poverty. And you don't want to see to see other IDPs suffering the same. So currently the situation is not so good, and because still IDPs are still there, 70% of the IDPs are not compensated, 2007, 2008. And I think it's not so good. It is not good. It is good for us Kenyans to know that Kenya is one. We are one country from one mother, which is Kenya. And it's a high time for our people to open up their eyes and think more about the future of this country.
And of course, you're painting for us a picture of the state of some of these Kenyans who were affected during the 2007, 2008, and you're saying the majority of them are languishing in poverty. And these are people who had homes. These are people who had businesses. These are people whose lives were stable. But because of the chaos that the country had during that time, their lives have never been the same again.
True. So far, so good. From Nyanza region, we have around 60,000 IDPs who are still languishing in poverty. Let's go to Rift Valley still. The Kalenjins, the Kikuyu, the Luos, and all tribes. All tribes suffered during that time, including Kalenjins, Kikuyu, all tribes suffered. So currently, we started this forum for peace, the peace forum, and we want to make sure that there is peace in Kenya. So far, so good. These people, they have their properties, they have their homes, they have their brothers, their sisters. Some of them were killed. So what you are saying, currently, the government bought some lands for the settlements, and still, those lands are still there. People are not settled there. There is a lot of land issues. So what you are saying, we are requesting for the incoming president to make sure that settle the issues of IDPs for once and for all. So we have nothing to celebrate so far. We have nothing to celebrate. The celebration will come when all the IDPs will be settled. The government has been neglecting our people for nothing. So it is my humble request for the president to come, whether Raila, whether Ruto, to make sure that we settle this.
All right, and I think the IDPs.
And I think that's where the true reconciliation will start.
Yeah, because you can't speak to a person about reconciliation when they don't have a home, when everything they had been taken from them. There has to be some level of justice, even as we look at reconciliation. Exactly. Okay, and of course that period of our lives and these IDPs, they have forever remained a scar on our national conscience, and it appears this government or the previous government did not do so much to address the plight of these Kenyans moving forward. So where you are right now, how is the situation? I know we are waiting and we're anxiously waiting. The country is, and indeed as our brother here in Tanzania is saying, the rest of the region is, to get the results. But even when people are waiting, what is the anxiety levels, or what are you hearing from the ground? Are people worried? Are people anxious? Are people feeling unsafe? What is the true situation from where you are?
So currently you can't tell anything because as everything has come, and we are requesting Kenyans to remain the same. It's not like last time when there was chaos all over. But this time around, one thing I want to thank Kenyans for showing maturity, because at the end of the day, we'll get one president to lead this country. Whoever will come, Kenya will remain is one. This is my humble request to all Kenyans. Know that we are one family, one mother, all Kenya. So I speak peace for this country.
And we only have one country. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Just conclude your thoughts. Or are you done?
So one thing we are so grateful to see how Kenyans they are reacting. Kenyans are peaceful. There is a lot of peace all over, and I've talked to so many people from Kisumu, from Eldoret, from Nandi, and there is peace. We are requesting Kenyans to remain peaceful, because at the end of the day, we are the ones who suffer, the normal mwananchi. But the people we are electing, their families will remain there comfortably in Runda, in Karen, right? But for us, let's remain united because you are one family.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're reporting that where you are, Kenyans are calm, and indeed across the country that is the situation. Do you think, Peter, the handshake has something to do with in the sense that we know the last elections, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga were really bitter rivals, and we saw how that played out. And then before we know it, it was very acrimonious. Remember, even the nullification of the first election, and we had to have another election for the presidential part. And then after that was done, remember, even there were chants of now we need to have two countries and all that, supporters of Raila Odinga. It was not good at that time. And then a few months later, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila decides to reach out to Raila Odinga, and that sort of changed the matrix. And we were surprised because nobody was expecting that, owing from where we had been at that time as a country. So do you think Kenyans at that time perhaps looked at these leaders and said, now, if these two people who could not even see eye to eye are able to sit on the same table and now they're supporting each other, so maybe we should also change how we look at the politics of this country. Do you think that handshake had something to do with the calmness we're now seeing, Kenyans now realizing it's not that serious after all?
Hardship was between two people, that one can tell you for free. Because if the hardship was genuine, that could be trickled down and make sure that the IDPs get settled. But currently, IDPs are still languishing. From Nyanza, because I have IDPs from Nyanza, from the lower Nyanza. We still have IDPs from Western, from Rift Valley, from Central Region. Nothing has been done to resettle, to at least resettle the IDPs.
Okay. All right. But
nothing was done. Actually,
my question,
the current government that we are having,
Peter, my question is because we know how Raila and President Uhuru Kenyatta during the last elections, they could not see eye to eye, right?
Yeah.
And then they went ahead and
good for them.
And they went ahead and had this handshake. And so Kenyans here, the supporters were left thinking, okay, so these are people.
My sister, do you know what brought apathy?
Yeah.
Because most of the IDPs is not with votes.
So I'm just saying the kind of calmness we are seeing right now, Kenyans have realized this is just politics and there's no need for us to start going after each other, because the end of the day, the people we are fighting for will end up getting together anyway when it is appropriate for them.
That calmness was built by Kenyans themselves. I can tell you for free. Kenyans have suffered a lot. And currently, they don't know the other Kenyans suffering. So they are tired of this nonsense of fighting each other. Actually, that calmness, it was self-made. It was a self-made. Right?
Okay.
So it is not from above.
I'm not saying you're missing my point, Peter. What I'm saying is, after these two rivals went ahead and shook their hands, so Kenyans had to realize at the end of the day, if these two who are not getting along are able to do that, so why are we fighting each other? So maybe that's why there's more people are more calm right now, because they realize when it comes to politics, maybe it's not even that serious. If these two who could not see eye to eye were able to do whatever they did, so maybe we should start looking at this politics differently, because the end of the day, it is us who suffer.
My sister, let me tell you something. Do you know why there is calmness? Poverty level. This did not came from above. This did not came from the hardship. The poverty level, let me tell you, people are suffering.
Yeah.
And currently, they don't want to see, they don't want to suffer again.
Yeah.
Nobody is caring about the election. Everyone is caring about what to eat, what to put on the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Peter Karaoke. It was nice talking to you. Thank you so much there from Nakuru County. All right. Thank you so much. And it is a city now. All right. Samuel Sawish, good morning. I know you've been listening there. I don't know what you've picked out from that conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you so much. It was nice talking to you. Samuel Sawish.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, thank you, my brother, that is Peter Karaoke. As a gentleman I've known for a very long time, like I said earlier, Miriam. And you can clearly you can clearly understand the tone with which Mr. Karaoke is speaking. And that clearly tells you that is the feeling that most of the people who went through the horror experience of the 2007-2008 post-poll skirmishes really have, is basically trying to paint a picture to us, the entire country, about why it is important for us to maintain the peace and calmness that we are experiencing now, even in the face of the anxiety that is building up as the Kenyan people continue to wait for the outcome of the presidential election. Picked out from Mr. Karaoke is that the issue of reconciling the Kenyan people doesn't have to be limited to the elites only. It doesn't have to be limited to, say, President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, or it doesn't have to be limited to Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Even as we wait the outcome of this particular election, it should trickle down to the ordinary mwananchi, because by the end of the day, that is where it matters most. That is where they feel it. They feel the pain of it all. And when it is done and trickles down, Miriam, I can quite assure you that the Kenyan people will always be proud, because when the leaders only reconcile here at the top and the same is not replicated on the ground, then we will not be able to experience that tranquility, that very genuine, peaceful coexistence amongst the people of Kenya. So it's a very good message I think Karaoke is passing through, rather passing on to the Kenyan people, and more so to our leadership. That in as much as we are having this political competition, in as much as there has been these political differences shaped, of course, by opinion, it does not have to affect the lives and the normal businesses of the ordinary mwananchi. They should be allowed, or they should not be incited really to disrupt their normal activities, their livelihoods. Their lives also are sometimes being lost. I think politics doesn't have really to get to that level. So I think that is the greatest message I've picked from one Mr. Karaoke, and it's very, very inspiring. But because even in the face of the kind of tribulations that internally displaced persons really went through in 2007, 2008, those who managed to survive that horror ordeal really came out strong, and they continue now to build up from where they got themselves in, and their only hope is that nothing as ugly as what happened in 2007, 2008 recurs again, especially at this particular moment when the country is in a tense moment, waiting for the outcome of the presidential election. So basically, the general message is a call for peace, a call for peaceful coexistence, and understanding that this was just but a political competition and not enmity amongst the leaders or even amongst the supporters. I submit.
Very well, thank you so much. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and you can tell, I think, for the people who suffered, even for us who perhaps did not bear the brunt of what happened, but we were in this country, so every time we are nearing an election, I think Kenyans, we still have that trauma, but especially for those who are directly affected by the skirmishes, people have not healed. And I think from the tone from Mr. Peter, who gets to interact with these people every now and then, there's still some work that needs to be done for us to be truly be reconciled. Kiptanui Savanya, good morning.
A very, very good morning to you, Miriam.
All
good
right.
morning to you.
Yes.
Good morning to you.
And you were listening to the conversation, I was having with Mr. Peter Karaoke. And thank you so much for looking for him and bringing up on the show. I think he's reminded us why, even more so, right now we need to really make sure that we maintain peace. We have Kenyans who were affected so many years ago who have not even moved on with their lives yet. So we cannot afford to create another situation that will disrupt the lives of Kenyans, and that will forever remain a scar on our national conscience, and the fact that we still have Kenyans who have not been settled, it's not fair, and there has to be some justice at the end of the day, I think. So what have you picked up from the conversation that I've just had with Peter Kariuki?
Thank you, Miriam. I've picked up through so many lessons, Miriam, that this country belongs to all of us. And Miriam, peace is a very important factor in our lives. It happened that Miriam, I've also worked with Kariuki. When we were evicted in 2005 in Serengeti Forest, after we were almost through with our Form 4, Miriam, we were also affected so much. But it was also an eviction because we used to live in Serengeti Forest. At that time, I was in Form 4, and I was affected. We lost so many people because so many people died because of a lot of stress. Then, Miriam, when we came to vote in 2007, I was even the first reporter in 2007. After voting, Miriam, post-election violence erupted. Miriam, I met Peter Kariuki in 2016 at the DCI headquarters, Miriam, and I was.
Okay, we suffered a bit of a technical hitch there from Kiptanui, and I think I really wanted to hear where he was going with that conversations, because it's important to remember some of these things so that we are able to stay on the straight and narrow. I think it's important, to know what happened and to just have a peek on our history so that we know that we need to do right by this country and by its people. Kiptanui, you have a bit of an issue there with your connection, but once you're able to get back to us, I think I will give you an opportunity to conclude your thoughts there. So a couple of things have happened. These headlines, a lot of what is on the headline this morning has been passed by events, because this is a developing story as we await for the results this afternoon. And there was, I think, a video that I've watched just a couple of minutes ago over some IEBC officials, I think in Starehe constituencies. There's been some issue in that area over an IEBC official who was caught with some ballot papers, and he wanted to stuff them inside the ballot boxes or something like that. I don't know if you've come across that video, and maybe because this is not the first instance. I think we heard of some IEBC officials also in some other parts of the country who are caught engaging in malpractice as far as the electoral laws are concerned. And I was just wondering, is it because they know even if they're charged, then perhaps it's not as punitive? That's why they would dare even think about engaging in certain things. So should we make laws, especially around elections, knowing how this is very critical, that if an official or anybody who even attempts to tamper or negate the will of Kenyans, then the laws should be so punitive that even the thought of it, will just make them get scared. But I see Kiptanui is back, so maybe I'll give him the opportunity to finish what he was saying, and then we shall come to you on that matter of those IBC officials. Kiptanui, please complete what you were saying.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, and I'm sorry for that technical.
It's okay.
Miriam, thank you. What I was actually trying to say, Miriam, is that from what my brother Peter Kariuki, thank you so much, Olesisina Tarwish. I didn't know you know this, Mr. Kariuki, and you knew Mawingu camp. Thank you so much. I'm also proud of you. Miriam, what I picked from Kariuki is that one thing, peace is very important. Two, Miriam, people have not moved on. As I said earlier, that it took me all to Kitale, to Nyanza, to Homa Bay, and all those counties, Miriam, to visit the people who are affected in Naivasha, Eldoret, and some parts of this country. And they went home empty-handed. Miriam, on the resettlement of IDB's program, Miriam, there's a problem that came out, Miriam, in 2013 when my sister Anwai Guru was the cabinet secretary for devolution. You remember she's the one who was steering the resettlement of these IDPs. She actually took over from Lydia Miruki, who was the minister for special programs. And when they formed about Miriam, which is called National Coordinating Secretariat, which was overseeing this program together with IDP network, many people actually, Miriam, were not captured. Reason by when the post-election violence, most of the Luos and most of the Kalejits and Kisi who are affected, Miriam, they didn't went to the camps in Nakuru and Mawingu. And Olasesina Tarwish, when you are doing that documentary in Mawingu, you realize that the people who are living in those Kikuyus and other communities who are in those camps in Pipeline, they went back to Nyanza. They went back to their relatives and they are still living there, Miriam. And it happened that I also met somebody, Miriam, who was banned in Naivasha completely. So these people are still integrated in their community, and it is their appeal, Miriam, that the coming government, they have been there, they have been voting, but they have not been captured. Peter Karaoke as their leader, Miriam, in this country, when you go to where he lives in Umereria, where Uhuru Kenyatta and former President Mike Kibaki assisted them to get land in Laikipia and some other parts, people are living, but they are living with each other, but they have not moved on. So when the new government, when we will be ushering the new government, Miriam, it is my appeal that also let us consider these people. Second, Miriam, is that we as we are waiting for these results, remember the same, why I try to look for Karaoke, Miriam, is because in 2007, the same Raila Odinga, who is now fighting for president under Azimio La Umoja coalition, and William Ruto, who is also fighting under the Kenya Kwanza, were in ODM. These are people they used to call themselves brothers. Mm-hmm. It is William Ruto who gave Raila Odinga the name Arab Mipe. So we are calling people with my brother Karaoke in 2007. When Mukapigana, these people, they are living in Karen, you are living in Korokosho. Raila Odinga lives in Karen. My brothers and sisters they cannot afford even one meal. They are living in Kibera. They are living in slums. Why do you fight for the people whom even they can afford flight and move? So we are preaching peace. Miriam, and I thank God he's here in Nakuru. He will be moving to Ban Forest and some other parts to be preaching peace, Miriam. And we are waiting for these results. You remember the same what caused the post-election violence of 2007-2008, Miriam, is because of the disputed elections and a lot of propaganda that people are saying to maybe what has happened. So we are calling upon these people to live in peace. Let them live in peace. We are brothers and sisters. The country belongs to us. I submit.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And of course, the breaking news this morning. Kimilili Member of Parliament Didmas Baraza surrenders to police in Bungoma 3 days after allegedly shooting and killing an opponent's aide at a polling station. And the DCI, yesterday, while they were posting about his warrant of arrest, they did not even say allegedly. They explicitly said he shot somebody in a cold blood, in cold blood. So he has surrendered to the police. People in this country need anger management. If you cannot control yourself, just a minute of insanity can get you into forever trouble. So let's see how the police will handle that matter. So and before I go to Samuel Tawish, Kiptanui, there's a question I asked Peter, but it appears we are not really understanding each other there. The issue to do with the handshake. Of course, a lot of people were shocked initially. The supporters of both President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga were shocked when that happened, because there's no way, judging from where we were at that time in this country and where we had come from, and the acrimonious elections and the Supreme Court ruling, and then another election that even supporters of Raila Odinga and his stronghold refused to participate in. There's a lot going on in our country during that time. And then fast forward a few months later, these two walk out of Njogo House, shook their hands, And the rest of us were left confused, like what just happened? And then later on, there were those who grew to appreciate that gesture, and the others who said, no, this is the ultimate betrayal, and you don't want anything to do with this handshake. And that would include the Deputy President, William Ruto, and that, I think, started the acrimonious falling apart of the two in the Jubilee government. But be it as it may, there are people, a section of Kenyans, who looked at that as, okay, so that's good, reconciliation, we can come together and move forward as a country. But there are a section of Kenyans who looked at this as, okay, maybe it is time for me as a voter and as a Kenyan also to learn that politics is not that serious. If these two could come together and shake their hands, then I am responsible for ensuring that I have peace where I am, because at the end of the day, it is just politics. We will hate each other here, and the political class will always align themselves with where they feel their interests are best being taken care of. That is what politics is. Politics is just about interest, right? And so do you think this handshake, even for those who did not support it, Kiptanui, perhaps acted as an eye-opener of why there's no reason to fight on behalf of any politician?
Very true, Miriam. After people fought and almost kill each other after 2017 disputed elections, Miriam, people realized that kumbe ni bure, we fight, we kill each other, but politicians, they close, they just go to a roundhouse, they close, we don't know what they discuss, they come up arguing each other, greeting each other, and who is suffering? The Mwanainji is suffering. So Miriam, Ansek also taught us a lot of lessons that we will fight and go and sleep, and we sleep angry. So this handshake, Miriam, has brought a lot of achievement. Remember, handshake was between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Mm-hmm. And you saw I was telling you a scenario in 2020 where we visited all those counties. Peter Kariuki comes from Gema, he comes from Kikuyu community. Kiptanui Savania comes from Kalenjin, from Nandi County. But we took an initiative of rotating all the Nyanza counties, asking people now, what my brother Dr. David normally says, redemption strategy, how we are healing. You see, Miriam, you could somebody like me or Karaoke could not even travel to Kisumu. But Ansek brought a lot of things, Miriam, and that is why you see by now people are busy. People even are not following those results, Miriam. People are busy with their activities because they have realized that we'll go to streets, demonstrate, you are killed like Vipendo, you are being hammered by GSU, Munafunjwa Migu, but at the end of the day, you wrote in hospital. Like you remember, Miriam, 2017 elections, when demonstrations were being held in Kisumu, Miriam, how many border guys were almost killed? No, who put up their bills? Nobody. Who put up their funeral expenses? Nobody. After Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta shook their hand. Mm-hmm. Miriam, there was also some money which was given out, 10 billion for those people to be compensated, but up to date there is nowhere. So people have realized that we are fighting each other. At the end of the day, these politicians will afford flight, they will shake hands, they will eat together, they will dine together. And remember, Miriam, I want to draw an attention from the senator-elect, the senator designate elect, who happens to have been the county chief of Uasin-Gishu, Mandago. Mandago was the person who said, I've suffered a lot. I'm the same person who abused Raila. I'm the same person who took my money from my pocket and put you people to Matatus and went for the swearing in of Uhuru Ruta. But when I visit Uhuru Kenyatta in State House, the person who is ushering me in Raila Odinga. So I think that message was also circulated on many Facebook pages and some other groups that usiweke siasa kwa haro, weka kwa lunch so that tunakoa. Back to you.
Okay. Samuel Tawish.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And I think probably you wanted me to respond on the question of the some of the IEBC officials who were arrested, of course, yesterday in Starehe constituency. And I think, Miriam, I really agree with you that we need the punitive measures. We need the stiffer penalties in as far as the election officials and anyone who is engaging themselves in election irregularities or malpractices, because by the end of the day, it compromises the dignity and the integrity of this very important exercise. It is not enough just to apprehend these individuals and put them behind bars, because we need deterrent measures. We need to have stiffer penalties that will send lessons to anyone who will hope or who will be planning to do a similar thing, say in future elections. Because, Miriam, if we do not do that, then these people will just treat it as a normal business. See, for example, what happened last time. Was it in Homa Bay, or I think it was in Homa Bay, where a section of IBC officials were equally caught, of course, in the home of one of the candidates in Homa Bay County. And just the other day, you saw what was happening in, of course, Starehe constituency. I had the benefit of watching that video live because it was being streamed through social media platforms. I was able really to watch and Azimio La Umoja Brigade, the likes of Charity Ngilu, Junet Mohammed, ODM Secretary General Sifuna, Esther Pasaris was there. I was also able to notice other politicians who are there. How they got a tip off about the same, I'm not very sure. But the bottom line is these IEBC officials were really caught trying to stuff ballot papers and compromise, of course, the outcome of the elections in Starehe constituency, and by large, of course, it could also maybe affect the presidential tally. So these are some of the actions that we must really denounce. These individuals and anyone who plans to do that must face the full force of the law, because again, without doing that, Miriam, we will continually be encouraging IEBC officials, IEBC as a commission, and also any other individual really to engage themselves in activities that will otherwise compromise the whole integrity and dignity of our elections in the country. We want people to really compete in a free, fair, and in a free, fair game without anyone really favoring or being partisan, rather.
Okay. A bit of a technical hitch there on Tawish's side. Tawish, can you hear me? Good morning. Okay, as Samuel Tawish fixes that, Kiptadui on the same. This is an isolated case, but also there has been some cases. I think on Sunday there were some IEBC officials who were caught in Homa Bay. Was it 2 or 4 of them? And they were having a conversation with an MCA candidate and other politicians. And so essentially that was compromising the credibility, because if they are the officials who are heading these elections, they should not be meeting with politicians. And so I think they were sacked, but that was just it. So my question is, the reason why maybe these IEBC officials across the country that have been tasked with this very important responsibility, a few of them feel as though they can, be compromised in whatever way, is because maybe there are no punitive measures in place. They know even if they're caught, they'll just be sacked, or maybe even the fines, should they be taken to court, will not be as much. It will be easier for them to be bailed out. So elections in this country is a matter of national security, and it should be treated as so. So should we put laws in place that protects the credibility, the integrity of the elections as far as the officials who are handling this are concerned, so that anybody who even imagines to engage in any form of malpractice, thinking of what that might mean for them, might be scared. Tawish, I see you back, so could you finish what you're saying, and then Kiptanui can come in.
Miriam, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we lost you there for a couple of minutes, but go ahead.
Sorry, I had a disruption from a call. Albeit, Miriam, what I was trying to say is that any acts that point to the effect that someone wants to compromise the integrity for election must be dealt with firmly, Miriam, and in accordance with the law. Because, see, for example, what happened was it in Kimilili the other day, when, of course, Kimilili, Member of Parliament, Didmas Barasa, did shoot, allegedly, I don't know, I'm not very sure about it, did shoot the opponent's aide. And also see, for example, what happened in Homa Bay and what is happening in Starehe constituency and maybe many other places in the country. And also when you look into people even dishing money to the people, to the voters to go and vote in their favor. These are some of the things that IEBC must firmly deal with, of course, in conjunction with other enforcement agencies, to see into it that our future elections actually beyond a reproach, are those that can really live the test of time. Because again, when the election is the integrity of the election is compromised, Miriam, we are also likely going to get compromised leaders. We are likely going to get wrong leaders getting into office simply because they can buy their way into office. They can intimidate the opponents or even the supporters of the opponents, or sometimes even rig this election in their favor. So we want IEBC and other law enforcement agencies that work hand in hand with IEBC to see into it. And also the politicians, especially members of parliament and the members of the National Assembly and the Senate, to see how they can streamline and harmonize legislation in as far as integrity of the election is concerned, so that we have stiffer penalties and stringent measures to people who are hell-bent in compromising the integrity of our elections. By doing so, Miriam, we'll be making a very, very positive step in actually maturing our democracy and making sure that our future elections are beyond reproach. I submit, Miriam.
Very well, thank you so much. And I think the video is almost ready. And that shows the Starehe constituency deputy returning officer who was arrested over 3 missing ballot boxes. How do ballot boxes go missing? I don't understand. And Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leaders Edwin Sifuna, Philip Kaloki, Ruben Dolo, Minor Commander Rachel Shebesh, and Jubilee Starehe parliamentary candidate Amos Mwango stormed the Starehe constituency tallying center at Jamhuri High School on Thursday evening and demanded that the election results be released. The leaders linked the missing ballot boxes to rigging. While addressing their supporters at the Jamhuri High School, the leaders demanded that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission officials at the tallying center be put to task to explain the circumstances under which the ballot boxes disappeared. Ballot boxes cannot just disappear. So let's just look at that video, and then Kip Tanui, you can come in and give your comments of the same.
You know, you people are the ones who cause problems in this country. How do you explain not putting them in the ballot?
Can we focus on this? Which one?
And that's all to the bombers of Kenya, so that IEBC can stop this. What is happening? Because these are IEBC materials. These are IEBC officials. They should tell us everything. This is your voice. Photos and
he was the one who was.
I told him from yesterday.
Watch out.
Shebesh, go back this way.
Let's go systematically.
Me, I'm going out. I've been here since yesterday.
I'm done this one.
You're going nowhere.
Wait, just wait.
Stand there.
Are you an employee of IEBC? I know them.
So what will you do
What happened?
So you're a presiding officer in Sarehe.
What happened?
In Sarehe.
Park Road. What happened?
When I was in it,
Yeah. Oh. What's so now?
Thank you so much. So that is that a video from Starahe constituency where the deputy returning officer was put to task to explain how 3 ballot boxes had gone missing. I mean, how? I don't understand that either. Okay. Captain Nui, your thoughts?
Thank you, Miriam. My thoughts is that now, Miriam, that video is the basis of whoever will win that seat, Miriam. One of them will go to court and ask where will bring up a petition, and it will be nullified. There will be by-elections. Miriam, I think we have a problem with our laws in Kenya. The problem is that we don't have laws in a structure that those are electoral malpractices, Miriam. And the way you say it, maybe these people are doing it intentionally because they are saying hakuna kitu nitafanywa. Somebody have ever done this and nothing has happened. It is like the way corruption actually is killing this country, Miriam. It is unfortunate, Miriam, that we have a constitution, we have the law, but these people, they are arrested today, Miriam, and tomorrow you meet them along the street. It is like the mother, these people also who kill. You see, somebody has been arrested, he has killed, he has been failed out, he's also moving on with life, and there is nothing which is happening in this country. Miriam, we need to review our laws. We need to review our constitution. We need to strengthen, we need to investigate these judges who are releasing these people, Miriam. By now, that returning officer could have been in cell, being even prepared to be taken to court. But what is happening? There is nothing. It is like we are breaking these laws and asking ourselves, there is nothing we can be done. So what are we going to do, Miriam? We are encouraging other generations to come and continue with impunity in this country, and I condemn with all the strength that I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And to some news that now maybe some political leaders might have to find, might have to answer, especially in Western Kenya. We know Kenya Kwanza bigwigs who failed because they had entered into a pact with Kenya Kwanza with Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi and ANC leader, and also Moses Wetangula, Ford Kenya leader. And of course, for the two, they were supposed to deliver 70% of the votes from Western Kenya. And provincial results from Tuesday's election show some Kenya Kwanza principals failed to deliver substantial votes to Deputy President William Ruto. In the coalition agreement, affiliate parties pledged to deliver a certain percentage of votes in their backyards to retain a share in government if Ruto wins. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi had promised to deliver 70% of all Western votes to the deputy president. Together with his Ford Kenya counterpart Moses Wetangula, Mudavadi was tasked with delivering votes from Kakamega, Bungoma, Vihiga, Busia and Trans Nzoia counties. They negotiated a 30% stake in the government if the Kenya Kwanza coalition wins. Wetangula delivered his home county of Bungoma, but Mudavadi flopped in Vihiga. Provincial results on Thursday showed Ruto had garnered 229,409 votes in Bungoma County, representing 63.15%. So it's not even 70%, but it's good enough. 63.15% of the ballots counted. That is for Wetangula. Azimio's Raila Odinga had gathered 13,478 votes, representing 35.95% of the ballot counted. In Mudavadi's Vihiga backyard, Raila got 85,995 votes, representing 59.81%, while Ruto garnered 56,283 votes, representing 39.15%. Of course, also another person who had to deliver was Kilifi Governor Amos Kingi and his Machakos counterpart Alfred Mutua, who also fell short of delivering their respective regions to Ruto. The provisional results show Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga had garnered 71.78% and 74.49%. Respectively, of the votes counted so far in Kilifi and Machakos counties. So perhaps next time when these leaders are negotiating for these laws or whatever it is, that they will benefit from the coalitions, because I think the future of Kenya's politics will still be based on coalitions. I think no one single party will be able to go it by itself like we used to see ODM or KANU or Jubilee back then. I think right now coalitions is the way to go. And so what lessons perhaps in future should politicians learn, especially when you get into in agreement on how on negotiating for your position? Because we all talked about this here and we all knew it was going to be a daunting task for Mudavadi and for Wetangula to deliver a 70% total number of votes from the Western region. But of course, in Bungoma, they supported their son, so they were able to give Ruto a majority of those votes. But the rest of the counties in the Western Kenya, that was not the case. The same case in Eastern, in some counties in Eastern Province, where Machakos governor, Alfred Mutua was also tasked to deliver the same. So what lessons can politicians pick from these coalition agreements moving forward, Samuel Tawish?
Thank you so much, Miriam. Indeed, the just stamping is over, and the reality and facts are now here with us, and we must live with them. I remember in the run-up to this election, there are so many people really just stamping and displaying what appears to be superiority in this politics. And now with these results, Miriam, you can quite tell who are the political bigwigs in some of these regions. A case in point, for example, is in the larger Ukambani region. The likes of Johnson Luye Mudhama, the former senator for Machakos, who is the UDA chairperson, and Dr. Alfred Mutua. These are notable politicians from Ukambani who had promised Deputy President William Ruto that they will deliver a sizable number of votes for him or for Kenya Kwanza, especially for Deputy President William Ruto's presidential bid, and in particular also for the candidates who are running for various positions in those parts of in that part of the country. But again, the results are out. You can clearly tell who between the Kalonzo Musyoka-led faction and the likes of Mudhama and Dr. Alfred Mutua are really the ones calling the shots in the Ukambani politics. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. From the elected senators, women rep, governor, all the way from Makueni, Kitui, and Machakos, they have all been elected on a Wiper ticket. And a majority of the other elective positions, like member of National Assembly and of course a member of County Assembly, have equally been elected, if not on a Wiper ticket, but on affiliated, on Azimio affiliated parties. What does it tell you? That Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, let's give it to him, is still a dominant figure politically in that region in that lower eastern region, and he still has a commanding voice in as far as the direction that the Kamba nation really takes in our politics. You remember in 2013 they did give Raila Odinga, almost they give Raila Odinga votes almost to the man, and in 2017 they replicated, and now even 2022 at a time when their son was not even on the ballot, when he was not even running to Raila Odinga, they have managed still to give Raila Odinga a good number of votes from the Ukambani region. It does tell you that Kalonzo Musyoka still really calls the shot in Ukambani. As for Mudavadi, we should also try to be fair to Mudavadi. This is a man who has been in politics for far too long, but still behaves and acts like a political greenhorn. When we get into politics, he speaks too much, but when it comes to the reality and the results aftermath, you can clearly be able to tell and deduce that Musalia Mudavadi is not a political heavyweight in the Western region, let alone in his own county of Vihiga, Miriam. You cannot understand how, for example, Mudavadi and Wetangula have been telling Kenya Kwanza and Deputy President William Ruto that they will be able to deliver all the votes, over 70%. In fact, Ruto had given them a condition of 70%, but they came and gave themselves a higher ceiling of 90%, that they will deliver over 90%. It is funny in itself. Look at Busia, for example. All the people who have been elected in Busia County, from the governor, senator, the women rep, and all MPs, apart from one Honorable Mary Emase MP for Teso South, who has been elected on a UDA ticket. You go to Vihiga, everybody else, almost everybody else has been elected on Azimio affiliated, of course, parties, save for about, I think, 3 parliamentary seats. Go to Kakamega. I think ODM swept almost all the seats. Only Bungoma is where I can say, really, Wetangula has tried to prove his mettle politically. He's tried to actually make sure that Deputy President William Ruto gets a sizable number of votes. In fact, as we speak now, DP Ruto is leading in Bungoma County in terms of the total votes cast for the presidency. And also when you get into the other elective positions from the governor, senator himself, Moses Wetangula, and other MPs in that region, majority of them, if not all, have been elected on Kenya Kwanza allied parties. That in itself really gives you a message that even as we speak today, you cannot compare Wetangula and Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula are people who are playing in a different league. I give it to Moses Wetangula because he's been able, the people of Bungoma, where he comes from, have been able to listen to his voice. He's been able to sway majority of votes from that region in favor of Deputy President William Ruto. Although it doesn't come as a surprise, Miriam, because even in my previous, of course, analysis, I told you that Bungoma County, largely dominated by the Bukusu of the larger Luya community, normally vote in a different direction, in a different pattern compared to the rest of the Luyas. So it doesn't quite come as a surprise. Maybe it is a pleasant coincidence on the part of Moses Wetangula that this time around is with Kenya Kwanza and with Deputy President William Ruto, and other parts of Western Kenya are voting with the likes of course, Governor Oparanya. And for this one, Deputy President William Ruto has been able to garner a sizable number in that part of the country. When you go to Trans Nzoia, for example, you can see the effect of Eugene Wamalwa. The governor who has been elected there is a DAPK affiliated to Azimio. And a sizable number of politicians also, the lawmakers, have been elected on Azimio affiliated parties. And Raila Odinga is even leading in the total tally in the larger Trans Nzoia County. Much as it was anticipated, this is more of a cosmopolitan, a battleground, or sometimes a stronghold to Deputy President William Ruto, but the results are out, and so far Raila Odinga is leading in Trans Nzoia. So I can quite tell you confidently, Miriam, that we just overrating the one Musalia Mudavadi. This is still a man who is politically weak, a person who is not even commanding his own home ground, a person, as we speak, that most of the leaders have been elected on Azimio affiliated. And in fact, Raila Odinga is commanding a very huge lead in the presidential tally in as far as his Vihiga County is concerned. So yes, don't give too much attention on Musalia Mudavadi. This is one man who has been overrated for far too long. I submit.
Okay, so now the 30% of the stake in the government, if the Kenya Kwanza coalition wins, is at stake right now. And his earthquakeness, that is Musalia Mudavadi, I don't know what will become of him. Once again, Kiptanui Savania, next time these politicians, not just these ones, but the rest of the politicians, as we all know right now, the future of the Kenyan elections will be based on coalitions. So what lessons would our politicians perhaps get from the next time they try to negotiate for their positions in the coalitions?
Miriam, the standards which William Ruto set for my brothers Wetangula and Mudavadi in Western, some of them are not even attainable. Because, Miriam, if you tell somebody bring 70% and you know that place actually is a stronghold of you cannot, I think it was one way of actually shutting them down. It is unfortunate, Miriam, if William Ruto, I don't know why William Ruto did not set standards with people of Mount Kenya that to bring such, why Western? But
Kiptanui, to be fair, they agreed, and they also said not just 70%, Tawisha ametukumbusha hapo, tutaleta 90, hata na 70, tutaleta yote.
Miriam, I think the analogy or the statistics that my brothers used they were thinking they will bring 90%. They were still dreaming that they are in NASA. You know, in NASA, they brought a lot of votes. You know, I don't know why they created people like Wamalwa, former RC. Congratulations first to former regional coordinator, our friend, George Natembea, for playing captain. Now, in future, Miriam, when we are actually going for this coalitions, we must see the capability of a person who can bring these votes. You know, setting those standards might not be attainable. Why don't we come up like as a new coalition, Miriam, where we've said we will be having regional balance? If we get these seats, how are we going to take care of people from Turkana count? What are their priorities? What are their needs? Now, Miriam, look, for example, if Azimio La Umoja could have given us an ultimatum, not us, people from Nandi County where I was born, that if you cannot bring 30% or 40%, we will not give you anything. Miriam, what will you do with these people? What will you do with the 26,000 people who voted for Raila Odinga in Nandi County? Well, are you going to wash them away like that? Now, if my brother Mudavadi will not come with 90%, which he promised, I don't know what agreement they signed. Maybe they signed 70%. He will bring 60%. What will happen? How are we going to take care of that variance? How are we going to take care of that? So in future, Miriam, because we will be entering coalitions in future, Miriam, let us see how are we going to. Now we picked you, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, as our deputy president. You come from Nyeri County. What are the priorities? What are you going to do to the people of Nyeri County? What are you going to do with the people of this country also, Miriam? Let us be seeing integrity. Let us be seeing the honesty that people are entering coalition with. Let us be honoring this. Miriam, most of the fallouts since 2005, Miriam, has just come because of the disagreements, because after somebody has taken the presidency anakuambia kwani kura ilikuwa za mama yako. So let us actually be honest, and because we will be having many coalitions in future, let us see the regional balance, let us see the priorities, let us see how are we going to make sure everybody is feeling let us see how each one of us will be in this government which are going to be formed in future, Miriam, and enjoy the same person who is in CIA and the same person who is in Nairobi will be enjoying the same privileges. Thank you. To you, Miriam.
Okay, so according to you...
If you may just allow so that I can just add a point or so to this discussion about Tuan Musalia Mudavadi. This man, Miriam, has been more of a liability to anyone around him. I remember he's a man who came to parliament by virtue of the demise of his father. And from that time, he's been carried by other people rather politically. Remember in 2002, when he was, of course, he was supporting, I think, President Kenyatta then for his election as president. And this man did not even sail through in his own Sabata constituency. You remember in that election when one Moses Akaranga really floored him. Come 2007 again, Raila Odinga managed to bring him in his fold, and he managed, of course, to win that seat as MP for Sabatia, and he was given the deputy prime minister portfolio, Miriam. And in 2013, he decided to go his own way. We all know the number of votes that Musalia Mudavadi got in 2013. I think it was a paltry 500,000 in the entire country. In 2017 again, Raila Amolo Odinga brought him to the fold, and this man, Miriam, he cannot even go back and vie by himself because he knows he will be flouted. He does not command any following in his own backyard. That's why you see he does not even trust in himself. He cannot go and seek any elective positions back at home. How come that the likes of Moses Wetangula, who was a principal in Code Coalition, a principal in NASA, and now a principal in Kenya Kwanza, but has chosen to go and contest as senator? He has contested as senator. He was MP Sirisia. A senator now will be for a third term, and is winning. But for Musalia Mudavadi, he only but waits for somebody to carry him in his shoulders. That is where now he will be making a lot of noise, loud noise about his popularity. But I thank God because now we have taken him and maybe them back to the factory settings. They are back to where they belong, especially for Musalia Mudavadi. He promised Deputy President William Ruto that he was going to give him heaven in Western Kenya, but he's not even managed to get him anything. And so, as we move into this into the declaration of the presidential results. We are waiting to see, regardless of who wins the presidential race, be it William Ruto or Raila Odinga, I want to see the place that Musalia Mudavadi will actually occupy, because you have also to speak about the numbers that you have brought to the table. You cannot just come and claim a cake or a slice of the cake when you have not participated in bringing any ingredient to the making of this cake. And in this case now, it is an hour of reckoning for Musalia Mudavadi. He has made a lot of noise how he's popular in his western backyard, but the votes are out. He has to face the reality, and he will have to answer questions. If at all Deputy President William Ruto would have won he would have won the presidency, because for him to get the Prime Minister slot that had been promised to him, he had to deliver 70%. And it was worse that even he went to an extent of increasing the ceiling to 90%. So it is a very big shame. It's a slap on the face of Musalia Mudavadi and anyone who trusted him really to be able to tilt the numbers in Western Kenya in favor of Kenya Kwanza. I submit, Miriam.
So we're just going to sit here and dismiss the earthquake that was supposed to happen.
Miriam, maybe before you gloss the subject, because it is unfiltered, usher me in, and I have one comment.
Go ahead.
Miriam, thank you so much. Miriam, I don't know why people are laughing, and my brother also is laughing.
It is because of how he propped us. Remember the earthquake, and now I think that is what people were. I don't know if we were expecting that, but I mean.
Thank you. You've answered my question. You promised. Mudavadi actually wanted to fight for presidency on his own ticket, and you see, he promised us a earthquake. When we were even so much worried when you see promising us an earthquake means, I thought he's going alone. Immediately we saw William Ruto, we saw that the deal is done. You see, Miriam, if Raila Odinga will win this election, Western will have their own flow through the former Kakamega MP. The former Kakamega governor, Oparanya. Oparanya was even been given a position before even we went for this election. Mombasa, Hassan Joe will be taken care of without conditions. Can you see? Without conditions. Raila Odinga has not given anybody conditions that I'm doing this. Munya will be retaining. Even if these guys who comes from Douglas Kiremi's place, and I don't know where is Douglas Kiremi today. I think he's celebrating. Congratulations, my brother Douglas Kiremi from
Douglas, maybe he's just nursing his anxiety.
He's celebrating. They got a governor, and they just cried to Murungi like nonsense, Miriam. Although they didn't give much to Raila Odinga, congratulations to them. And they will be retaining Munya in the next government. I have confidence that Raila Odinga is winning this thing. Even though most of my friends are still texting us that tumechukua serikali, I have told them to hold on and actually to look where to the nearest shop and buy 5 liters of water as a way to usher in Raila Odinga. There is a problem here. If we give these conditions, people they might not be actually coming up with these thoughts, Miriam. You see, if in Mudavadi's, I was told in Mudavadi's village, Uko Mululu, even the MP comes from UDA, and you are promising them that I'm bringing 90%. It is actually not fair. Now, Miriam, I want to urge the coming government that let us not forget Mudavadi and other people who have misled. Malala maybe Malala misled him, and Malala might not be coming in when we'll be going in on the 28th. There will be actually I think it's called now by elections in Kakamega, and Malala might not come. So let us actually remember these people, and because as former secretary for that president, the late Moi Jiru said, these are political cousins. I know they will be remembered somewhere. I know now somebody like Alonso Mushoka is laughing, even though we have not taken the government, he's laughing.
Okay, I would be laughing if I was him.
Kiptanui. There's absolutely no need for my brother Kiptanui to appear sympathetic to one Musalia Mudavadi or anyone, because again, as they say, as you make your bed, so must you lie on it. Musalia Mudavadi has made his bed, he must lie on it. He promised Kenya Kwanza that he will deliver over 70 or 90% of the Western vote. If Deputy President William Ruto wins this election, he has really answers. Really, he has to bring the numbers that he's managed really to mobilize for Kenya Kwanza. Has he made it easy for DP Ruto to win or not? I mean, those are some of the figures that will be the people will be comparing by the end of the day when a government is being formed. So I do not quite believe that it's correct to be sympathetic to one Musalia Mudavadi. So if we are to be sympathetic to one Musalia Mudavadi, or if Azimio was to do that, where will you place other people who have actually sacrificed their sweat, resources, and every other thing to support Azimio and maybe see that Azimio forms the next government once the final tally from IBC comes out? So there are people who have sacrificed their time, their resources, and every other thing, including the likes of Joho, the likes of Governor Paranya, and so many other politicians. So you cannot wake up today and say, if Raila Odinga forms government, we have to think about where to place Musalia Mudavadi. There are so many other people who have done pretty well in that place, who deserve to be given those positions if there will be any, and not one Musalia Mudavadi. Okay. Let him continue being where he is. Let him continue swallowing his own medicine. Because
if the official declaration there from IBC, but it possibly, so he has cushioned his political position in this country. Will still remain that. But Musalia Mudavadi, I don't know what will become of him if at all Kenya Kwanza does not win, because for him being in NASA and the wrangles they had there, or was it NASA, the last coalition, gave him a lot of political clout. So I don't know who he will be fighting this time. And I don't know what will happen if Kenya Kwanza does not win. Will that mean that perhaps he'll be thrown into political oblivion of some sorts? Because we don't know him to be a person who can stand by himself and be all that earthquake he wanted to bring us. What will happen to him? Yes, yeah. If at all,
Musalia Mudavadi doesn't know anything to do with being in opposition. That is one thing we must acknowledge. He doesn't know how to be himself. He doesn't know how to be in opposition. He has never been in one. And at any time that he has found himself in opposition, he struggles really to live there or to coexist with the people in opposition. You saw it in 2013 when he lost his presidential bid. You saw it in 2017, and even when the gallant figures like Raila Amolo Odinga chose to go and swear in themselves at Uhuru Park. I mean, Musalia Mudavadi was nowhere to be seen. This person who is basically a coward, a person who cannot pull anything by himself, a person whom you cannot really rely on in terms of mobilizing anything in as far as politics is concerned. So it's going to be quite an uphill task for Musalia Mudavadi. His prayer will only be that Deputy President William Ruto wins the presidential election and forms government and see where he can maybe probably place him. But again, the problem he also did, he should have come there with an open hand and open heart and told the DP, I'm coming maybe with my own support, and I cannot guarantee you the support of the people where I come from. But for him to come out and promise the DP that he will be giving him about 90% in Western Kenya, when he cannot even give 30%, it's a very big shame on Musalia Mudavadi. And it's good that this has happened so that we get to know what is the popularity, who is the kingpin of particular regions, politically speaking. Because again, in the run-up to election, you'll see everybody coming out about the Luhya renaissance, the Luhya voice, I mean, the kingpin of the Luhya politics, whatever kind of things that they try to do. Now you can be able to attest, Miriam, that the kingpin of Western Kenya, in this case, is none other than one Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. Because single-handedly, although it will be argued that maybe he has had the support of the likes of Atwoli who come from that place, although Atwoli has never been in politics himself, maybe the likes of Eugene Wamalwa, the Minister for Defense, we have to give it to one Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya. This is a very great mobilizer. He's managed to scoop so many votes and a majority seats in the western part of Kenya, and particularly for Raila Amolo Odinga's presidential bid. And now you can be able to tell who is the kingpin, if you should put it that way, of the Luhya politics as we speak today. So the likes of Musalia Mudavadi have just been riding on other people's popularity, thinking that it's theirs. Miriam, they say in science, the moon doesn't have its own light. It receives the light from the sun. And so sometimes it depends on the positioning of the moon. It depends on the positioning of the sun. If the sun, if the moon does not position itself very well, that is why you find sometimes it's dim and sometimes it's brighter. But when it's brighter, it thinks that it has the light of its own, forgetting that it receives the light from the sun. So I think this is the analogy I'm trying to draw. When you look into Musalia Mudavadi's perceived popularity in Western Kenya, when he's with the Raila Amolo Odinga, he says that Raila Odinga is winning so many seats and a big number of votes in Western Kenya, and he mistakes those votes as his popularity or him having mobilized those votes. And now that he's not with Raila Amolo Odinga, we still can see that Raila Odinga continues to pull that card and continues to actually manage and get a sizable and a majority of votes in western part of Kenya without even the support and input of one Musalia Mudavadi. I submit.
So in conclusion, from what you just explained there, Mudavadi chose the wrong sun. I didn't even know we had that many sun. So it didn't shine as it used to when he was with the other sun. Kuna suns mingi. Okay, so let's look at the, of course, right now, there are a good amount of members of parliament, positions and wins that have been confirmed. And according to the Daily Nation, I think they have a different number, and also the Star. So let me just use this one for the Daily Nation because I know these figures have already changed. Some of these positions have already been confirmed. But from what we have here, when the Daily Nation went to print this, the members of parliament that have been elected on Azimio affiliated to Azimio at that time was 134 members of parliament. Members of parliament affiliated to Kenya Kwanza is 120. And then independent MPs is 10 who have been elected as independents, 10. And MPs to be nominated is 12. And numbers yet to be confirmed is 87. Remember, Parliament should have around 349 members of parliament in total. So I don't want to go through the majority or not, because that is yet to be confirmed. So we're not going to have that discussion this time. But my attention has been drawn to the increase in the number of independent members of parliament. This time we have 10 of them. I don't know what does this say. And I think a lot of these MPs were elected in areas where we had the stronghold parties, either stronghold of Kenya Kwanza or Azimio. But because some of them lost out on the nomination process, they decided to go independent. And we've seen about 10 MPs, and maybe others will come, because we do have about 87 that have members of parliament that have not been confirmed. So we're waiting for that figure according to this. But as I've said there, this could certainly change, because I'm sure as the tallying continues, maybe this number has gone down of those not confirmed. But what does this tell you? Kiptanui, because this election, it was either you are aligned with one side or the other. There was no middle ground. But these few independent politicians were able to be elected by Kenyans based on perhaps, their agenda.
Miriam, thank you. Miriam, most of these independent candidates who have been elected by Wananchi, I want to congratulate them, and I want to congratulate Wananchi, the voters who have elected them. There are two scenarios, Miriam. Mostly of the nominations, most of the party nominations, Miriam, are owned by their party leaders. Like, let me give you a classical example of a problem which came out during nominations of UDA. You saw Miriam on media, even in Andil constituency. Congratulations to Alfred Keter Miriam, who even got those votes after William Ruto come there for 3 times or 4 times a month. Miriam, most of these independent candidates were being given these opportunities, Miriam. Like here in Solai FCA, Miriam got more than 1,000 votes in nominations of UDA, and you stole the certificate, and there were irregularities. But the people, they went back and say, this is the man we wanted, and they have elected him. They are electing these people, Miriam, based on the development agenda. Thank you so much for voters who are for electing these independent candidates. What are they seeing in these people, Miriam, is that these people, they can steer their wards, they can steer their constituencies, they can steer their counties, their county, Miriam. Now, Miriam, there is one thing which is actually coming to my mind. These people, independent candidates, they use their own money. You remember, Miriam, when you were being selected by a party to represent them in a constituency level, in a ward level, as an MCA, as a governor, or running for president, the party gives you money. But these independent candidates, Miriam, they have struggled. Congratulations to AC. AC is our now new MCA in Joro Ward, where I fought it. Congratulations to him, Miriam. He is now the MCA, courtesy of the people. He used his own money, but the goodness is that Miriam, he didn't even fight or he didn't even went there for nominations, because nominations have been used as a tool to intimidate, as a tool to select people, Miriam, who are not even fitting. Miriam, there's somebody who asked me this morning, what happened to Jubilee? I'm not a member of Jubilee, by the way, Miriam. Me and Daniel Wesonga, we belong to Kanu. And Miriam, we were actually defeated. Tulitandazwa sana in Baringo, but we thank God we got one slot there from Kamket, Miriam. Miriam, Jubilee messed up with nominations. They didn't even went for the nomination. They are picking people. Until those people, Miriam, have been defeated like nobody. I don't know whether this is with nominations of Jubilee as resulted, Miriam, to most of the people in Central Province have lost to UDA. You see, Miriam, governor of this Nakuru County, Miriam, might have been defeated also because of that. He was going through, he declared, Miriam, and he said, I'm going.
Okay. We are having a bit of a problem with your reception. Can you hear me now? Very well. Take care of that. Take care of that. I'll come to you. I'll come to you once your connection stabilizes. Samuel Tavish, on the same, the increase. Sorry, we had a bit of a technical hitch on your part, a bit of a connection problem there. I don't know if you can hear me now, Captain Nui.
Miriam, thank you. Sorry for that technical itch.
All right, sir.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Now, Miriam, I was saying that Jubilee and other, it was like other parties, but Miriam, they didn't even participate on, they unpicked their, I don't know the method they used, I don't want to speak on their behalf. I don't know the method they used to pick their candidates who have been defeated on a serious note. You see, Miriam, a place in where Jubilee candidate was actually there. He was defeated, but Raila Odinga is leading in that place. What does that show you? People are actually electing independent candidates and they are giving Raila Odinga. People are electing UDA and they are giving Raila Odinga. I think Jubilee must go back to although I've said I don't want to speak on their behalf, but they must go back to their drawing board. Miriam, what I was asking myself in the morning, these independent candidates, are they actually, they are loyal to who? Thank you for this constitution, which my brother from Suba, who is going home in the next 24 hours, William Ruto, he was against this constitution, but he is the most beneficiary of this constitution, Miriam. He has served for 10 years without being sacked. Assume we were actually on that constitution which was supporting, we are saying let us not go for this constitution, let us use the old constitution, Miriam. He would have been sacked by Uhuru Kenyatta at the moment he could have not even got an opportunity of installing and doing what. If we are using the constitution which Moi used to use that constitution, most of the people could have been in jail. Miriam, I want to applaud this constitution which has given us power, which has given us sort of opportunity that you can go and say, I'm now electing Miriam Ogutu of independent. I cannot elect Darwish of Kanu. I submit. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for assigning us parties. Tawish. The number of independent candidates in this year's election has gone up. What does this say?
Miriam, I think it's a reflective of our level of maturity and democracy as a people and as a country in this region. Because, Miriam, this is one very fundamental thing that was introduced in our 2010 constitution, where in the past we used to have people really being barred from contesting in an election simply because maybe the people around the political parties, the political party leaders, or the officials, if they're not in good terms with a particular candidate or hopeful for a particular seat, they choose to rig you out even in the nomination. And when you don't have a political party, then it meant you could not vie for any political seat. But from through the advent of course, the new constitution, we've seen that things are really changing with time, and that's why you see the number of independent candidates continue to go high with every other election. A case in point, Miriam, is one in, of course, in is it in Meru County, where we had an independent candidate really winning the governorship. I mean, being even a woman and running on an independent ticket, and of course also going against the grain. I mean, the political bigwigs, the likes of Kiraitu Murungi, the likes of Senator Methika Linturi, that woman was able to really contest for a governorship position on an independent ticket and was still able to really to trounce the political bigwigs. It is sending a very strong message, but a sweet one for that matter, because it does then send a message that nobody can gag anyone who has a dream or a vision for the people. If you want to serve the people, or you have the vision to serve the people, and the people are buying into your agenda and ideas, then you should be given that platform so that the Kenyan people will have an opportunity to choose through universal suffrage who their leader will be. And in this case, that is where now the issue of the independent candidates really comes in handy. So many people who knew too well that probably they were going to be rigged out in the nominations chose to go independent, and most of them really have managed to get elected as independent candidates into their respective positions. But the only unfortunate thing about these independent candidates, Miriam, is that once they get elected, they're not that independent as how they have come to the office. They get bought by, the big parties or people or parties with big monies. They get compromised and they get swallowed by the parties again. So this is just, but I think, a way to get elected. But once these individuals get elected, they don't hold on to any independent view or opinion. They get swallowed by these very huge political parties and political party leaders. And you'll just notice after this election, you go to county assembly, you go to the National Assembly and the Senate, you'll be able to notice that these independent candidates, either way, they will have to align themselves either with Azimio or the Kenya Kwanza. They will not go as independent when they get into these assemblies, Miriam. That is the most unfortunate thing. The concept of independent candidates was that we are going to have individuals who could have their own independent view, independent opinion, and also take independent decision when it comes to, say, for example, policy making or legislation. But that is not the case in Kenya. We haven't quite gotten to that level. I hope with time, our democracy will get to that level where these people will equally be able to have their own independent views, just like they have been elected on independent tickets. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. And I see we've been joined by Wangeshi Murioki. Wangeshi, if you can hear me, good afternoon. It's just about 6 minutes past midday here in Nairobi. Good afternoon. Okay, so we want to thank you so much for your time. And of course, the waiting continues. I think IEBC has to get it right. So however much time they need to verify and make sure they bring us the right results, then they should take their time. And Kenyans are urged to stay calm and go back to work. I'm surprised the roads, we don't have the traffic on the roads. So that means a lot of people are not traveling and are not moving around. I don't know for what reason. Let's just go back to our jobs and our daily activities as we wait for the results. It's not the end of the world. Thank you so much, Kiptanui Savania. Thank you, Samuel Tawish. And please say thank you to Peter Karaoke. I think his voice was very much needed this morning.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. I will. He has actually rushed to Banforest. Mm-hmm. He has actually rushed to Banforest to see the IDBs and some other people from there. Okay. I will make sure he comes
Thank him on my behalf. Yes, thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
All right, and let's continue waiting for IBC to give us the right results. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Unfiltered, and we've been looking and following on the Kenyan elections. We went to our elections on Tuesday, and right now the tallying is ongoing at the National Tallying Center, and IBC has a task to ensure that verifiable, free and fair elections is delivered to Kenyans, and that is what we're waiting for. But so far so good. I'm proud of us at this time round. So I hope nothing changes as far as the stability and the peace of this country is concerned. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.